Hi, welcome back to Tomorrow's America. My name is Richard Donahue, and I'm here with my co-host William Donahue. And Will, can you get into the news blitz of the day?
So news of the day, Nancy Guthrie's is still missing as far as we know. The US is 29th in transparency, corruption, and perception index. Super Bowl 60 halftime show was a big story this week. Trump, the king of the jungle clip, and the US and India had a trade deal. I haven't really read into it too much, but it's supposed to be a big deal. And then Brazil and China made a trade deal where they are now not trading in the U.S. currency, as far as I have heard.
Yeah, no, the India deal is a huge thing. That India deal is huge. But yeah, we'll get into more of that later in the show. Let's just attack Iran first with that whole thing, because the Iranian topic, there's so much information that we have on that. So do you want to pull that up? What led up to this huge conflict that's brewing?
Yeah, so I have here, let me get this shared, my screen shared. But basically what I have is I have basically the last 2 years of problems that have led up to where we're at now. And I'm putting it on the screen here. Sorry.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
The last 2 years.
And the 3 U.S. soldiers died there. Obviously, everyone remembers the bombing of Fort Doe. That was recent. That was very recent. So, what do we got here?
Oh, you know what? The wrong thing went up.
Oh, here, full screen layout.
Oh, right. There we go. There it is.
There we go.
All right. So, in the last 2 years, we had the Tower 22 attack. 3 U.S. soldiers died. In retaliation, the U.S. struck IRGC troops in Iran and Syria. The Fordo, Natanz, and Isfahan strikes, Operation Midnight Hammer. Al Udeid Air Base, U.S. intercepts Iranian missiles. Iranians, in response, started seizing tankers near Persia. Iran naval drone threatens one of our ships in the Strait of Hormuz. And then U.S. Patriot missile deployments to Al Udeid. I'm probably butchering that name, but that's what you're seeing on the screen. So that the Trump administration has deployed F-35s closer to the Middle East after U.S. talks with Iran. More stealthy U.S. fighter jets moved closer to the Middle East on February 9th with a half a dozen F-35A Lightning second, fifth generation planes landing at RAF Lakenheath, UK, after crossing the Atlantic. And then just to go along with this, Netanyahu is meeting in the White House today with President Trump. That was a behind closed doors meeting that did not have press access. And
yeah, no, that was interesting.
Yeah. What do you think about
this? Is his sixth time, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so 6 times
what do you
Benjamin
think about
came in.
Trying to pull this up. So Netanyahu is coming to the White House and essentially probably doing what he normally does, which is, asking for our money, asking for our troops, and asking for us to pass laws that impose restrictions on our speech when it comes to anti-Semitism. But when he left to come to the U.S., he passed this. Israel imposes de facto annexation with sweeping West Bank policy change. So New regulations include expanded Israeli authority in Area A, including the Irahimi Mosque in Hebron. The Israeli government on Sunday approved sweeping changes to land registration and civil control in the occupied West Bank, a move Palestinians say breaches the Oslo Accords and advances de facto annexation.
Yeah, no, that we definitely can't allow them to annex the Gaza Strip or the West Bank. Obviously, that's, that makes sense. In the 21st century, annexations aren't very common, especially when you have a state like Israel in the Middle East. It's one of the most hated countries in the world. And you look, Israel's the size of Rhode Island. So it's not a very large country, but its reach and how powerful it is, it's one of the most powerful countries in the world. And you wouldn't expect that just from, the landmass.
Yeah, well, they have a lot of power, and they have obviously very good allies when it comes to the U.S. It's like having a best friend that you could literally like punch him in the face, beat him up, kick him in the balls, and then turn around and tell him, hey, go fight that big guy over there. I got a problem with him. And I'm being kind of halfway graphic, but I mean, literally, they have the biggest bully in the world to go do their dirty work for them. So, of course, I mean, like this lead up to the attacks, or to what people are calling planned attacks. People are saying that the White House is holding back attacks. While this is a rumor, people are saying that the White House is holding back from attacking Iran because they want to figure out some of the networks of the people that the U.S. So basically, it's been going around within, I don't know what you'd call them. It's all mixed up. Iran funds Hamas and the Houthis and, the whole thing. But basically, people are saying that the U.S. wants to figure out more about networks of sleeper cells that might be inside the U.S. before they attack Iran. That's a rumor. Netanyahu and Trump are here having behind closed doors meetings to figure it all out. And obviously, if you could tell by the way me and Richard are talking about this, we don't like this conflict. I don't think that Iran is the aggressor necessarily. Obviously, it's been a back and forth for years and years. And I don't see any need for the U.S. to be involved other than to carry out this war for Netanyahu.
Yeah. I don't think that they are the aggressor. When there's a conflict like this that's going back and forth, you see Israel and Iran are going back and forth. Eventually, it could turn into something that is a lot bigger than what it is today. And I believe that, when you look at this conflict, it's just who keeps aggressing it, who keeps going and keeps going and keeps attacking, keeps trying to get the leg up on them. And, the United States are definitely involved. They want, our and a little satire here, but our president Netanyahu, the sixth time he's been in the White House in this term, it's been a year. It's been 1 year. Why is Benjamin Netanyahu back in the White House? Why does he have to visit 6 times? He's averaging one visit every, 3 months, 2 months? Like, there's no reason for a foreign leader to be coming more than twice a year, let alone 6 times a year. It just shows how implicated they are, and Israel is, into American politics. It shows how strong the Israeli lobby is. And people want to debate and say that it's not the strongest lobbying group. Well, it clearly is when it comes to foreign leaders, because he's came multiple times. I can't think of another leader other than Zelensky who's come over twice. I think Zelensky's may have come once or twice. Well, definitely twice, but I don't think more than that. So, yeah, when you look at all the leaders, he's been here a lot. Why is Israel our number one ally? They shouldn't be our number one ally. That's obviously a quote from Trump. He said that Israel is our best ally. Well, is it because they're a right-wing government? But they're also a terror state, in my own opinion. And I also think that they are continuing wars against these Middle Eastern countries because they have aspirations of the Greater Israel Project. Project Ether, if you ever seen that, you can look that up. I'm not going to go in depth on it, but look it up. The Ben Gurion Canal they want to do. So there's multiple different things that they have interest in, and they need the United States help. Eventually, they're not going to need our help. And then, well, that's not a world that I want to live in. So I think that overall, our partnership with Israel is a net negative for the United States. It doesn't serve American interests. And Benjamin Netanyahu, Bibi Netanyahu, is here to get our troops on the ground in the Middle East. And sadly, our troops would die. That's not ideal.
Right. If anyone's reading the banner on the bottom, it did cut off because you could only have 200 characters. But look into these stories also. There's a lot going on in the world. And basically, the Iran conflict is like the next course of the dinner, but there's multiple courses. And right now we're at like the appetizers. That's how I view this. We are just getting into something much larger than this. I forgot to mention in our news blitz also that the country Nigeria is currently attacking Christians and trying to impose Sharia law. So we have problems of our own. The Muslim issue is a big issue all over the world. Not that Muslim people are an issue, but that the changing of other cultures to become Muslim is, really threatening Western society and Southern China, the Southeast Asia. So we're highlighting Iran for this, and then we're going to get into Epstein. But we're highlighting Iran because right now that is like the next potential turning point to become a much larger conflict. I think the Russia-Ukraine deal is a big deal. We actually, with the Nigeria thing, we have 200 special forces on the ground in Nigeria right now. That's a pretty big deal.
No, for sure. That's not something that I want. I mean, I don't think our troops should be in danger of being hurt, especially in a country that, like Nigeria, that has little to no effect on the average American's life. So I understand having troops stationed there and trying to, help the Christians out. Obviously, there was the Christmas bombing in 2025. They bombed and killed leaders of the one political party that they had that were trying to kill Christians and martyr them. But I don't know if we should have 200,000 troops there. I don't know if we should have these people in danger. It's a very bad situation. And then obviously if one of them gets hit and one of them dies, then it brings us into a way larger conflict than we already were in. So it's a very fine line that we're at right now.
Didn't I also say when that happened that the strike that we carried out would take out a leader that was anti-Christian, but put in new leadership, create a power vacuum, put in one of the other political parties that was more extreme than the previous administration?
I remember this, and I think if you guys want to go back to this, it's either episode 1 or episode 2. We did talk about this, and we did say that. We did say that it was going to be a more extreme regime. Will said that because...
And they just burned down a church full of Christians. They went in there. They tried to get them to accept Sharia law, and they didn't accept it. So they closed the doors and burned the church down because people were trying to follow the Constitution of Nigeria.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's just one example. And obviously, we're a very new show, but our goal is to tell our truths, which we obviously believe is true, and help you guys decipher what you want to believe in. But we want to show that, like, when we say something, we're not just saying it. It's because we believe it's going to happen. And this is one example of, something that we said actually coming out to be true. This is a more radical regime. Obviously, they want to instill Sharia law. They want to kill these Christians. A big problem with that, with the strikes that we did take out, is now these people are going to be quote unquote refugees. Now, who's going to take them in? Because obviously, neighboring countries could, but most likely they're going to be coming to Western nations. And then that's another problem, is assimilation. So are they going to assimilate? Oh, well, the Nigerian people, their home is Nigeria. They have their beliefs, and it's like the same as Venezuela. You see 25% of the population had to flee because of Maduro, and they were all super happy that we liberated them. There's a lot of different hot spots like that. You look at Venezuela previously, and then Nigeria, Iran. Iran is still having protests to this day. They just burned the statue of Baal, which, if you don't know what Baal is, it's a satanic figure, pretty much. It's a figure for the satanic religion.
So it's a half man, half woman with a goat's head, demonic entity. You want to know what else happened that I didn't mention in the news blitz? The FAA closed down airspace for El Paso, Texas for 10 days for a threat from what people are saying comes from the Mexican cartel. They're flying drones over the airspace, and the FAA reopened the airspace, but they closed it down until they handled the threat from this drone, and now it's reopened. So there's little conflicts all over the country, all over the world right now. A lot of threats to the U.S. Also with that Brazil-China trade deal, them trading in something outside the U.S. dollar. I believe it was Marco Rubio did an interview after this deal happened, and he said, yeah, that if people stop trading in the U.S. dollar, we won't be able to implement sanctions on countries anymore, and that'll be the end of our power globally. So, there's a lot of things that us on this show, we're trying to protect and preserve. And, I don't align specifically with any political party. I'm an independent that tends to think the Republicans have a little bit better of a handle on things, but it's still good cop, bad cop. They play both sides, and nothing that we want really gets done. The Trump administration has been pretty decent, but I give them, on their report card, I'd give them like a 70 right now, like barely passing. Your dad's going to yell at you when you get home because you got a 70. Like, it's not good what's going on. It's not bad, but this is what happens behind closed doors. Is that backwards? It's probably backwards. Helmut Schmidt, Men and Powers. So this is a retrospective, a political retrospective. If you could find time to read this is a window into the dealings that happen behind closed doors with politicians. And Helmut Schmidt, he was from Germany. He was all over the world. Basically, he ended up doing deals with the Kremlin. He was in Beijing, all over the world, and he became a world power. And then before he died, he wrote this book explaining some of the stuff that happened behind closed doors. And they are little, clandestine meetings that plan what's going to happen and figure things out well into the future. It's like chess. They say a good chess player can think 20 moves ahead about the algorithms of what he's going to do and how it's going to affect the board. And then if you want to read another book that gives you a window into one of the factions of global power, and this has been the faction that's been in power for the last recent years, the New World Order, by Ralph Epperson. This is the New World Order that George Bush and Bill Clinton talked about. Now there's going to be a new world order, and we're seeing it being built right in front of us. It's the Western New World Order versus the Eastern New World Order. and basically it's a global system of power that we've been under a global government for a long time, okay? And all these countries are all tied together. Everything is just becoming a conglomerate. Europe isn't a bunch of countries, it's the EU. There's spheres of influence, and there's a lot higher things than like we said in the news breakdown. Oh, Trump posted a picture of Barack Obama and Michelle Obama as gorillas. Oh, yeah? Well, guess what? Joe Biden was a monkey. The other African American lady was a hippo. I mean, get real. The point of that video was to say Trump's the king of the jungle, and I get it. It's bad PR. It's gimmicky bullcrap. But get over it. There is men and powers out in the world that think that they are the guardians of the planet and that they can tell us what to do. You know who's the real king? Where's yours, Rich?
Right here.
You know who's the real king? Read this verse. On his robe and on his thigh, he has a name written, King of Kings, Lord of Lords. That's talking about Jesus Christ, the King of Kings. So all these kings and rulers and decision makers of the world, you guys can get on your knees and bow before the real king and apologize for everything that you guys have done, all the corrupt, dirty dealings that you guys have done, and then you can win our trust back halfway, probably. You can try to win our trust back and do the right thing, or because this generation doesn't care. We don't care about decorum and all that stuff. The boomers, respond with anger, not generalizing, but that's the old Karens with the blue hair. They respond with anger. Then the millennials, they cry. Our generation, what are we? Gen Z, Gen X? What are we?
Generation Z, and even the millennials for sure.
Between 20 and 30 years old, we don't care. We don't care if it breaks decorum. Get Bill Gates in front of Congress right now. That's what we want. We want action.
Yeah, no, for sure. And then look at Generation Z, they're fed up. They're sick of it. This whole time when you look at everyone's saying Generation Z, the softest generation, they say that this generation's lazy and all this just because they have the technology. They say that obviously when you look at people that get put down, they say that to be blunt, they say that we have a privilege issue, where, in my opinion, I think that it's a privilege to be born in America. I don't have a problem with anyone. If you are black or white, or if you have Asian descent, I don't really care, to be honest. I just care that you are an American citizen, and if you put America first, it doesn't matter to me what you are. It doesn't matter to me who you like. You can be a gay person. You could be a lesbian. I don't care what you do on your personal time. So you can do whatever you want to do. But if you align and you think that America should be put first by our government, then I can have some common ground with you. I can agree with you. That's the thing. And especially when it comes to Jesus Christ, because if you want to read another book, then I know he showed 2 books. Here's my book, the Holy Bible. I think that this is a great book to read. I've been reading recently. I've been reading Matthew again. I've been trying to read Matthew, and I feel like just reading Jesus's teaching is number one, and learning the history behind it. I thought it's something that was really powerful to me. Actually, I have it right here because I've been doing a lot more Bible study as of late. But one thing I have is Matthew 2:6, okay, or 2:16. Sorry. Who else but Christ could this isn't a quote. This is me writing about Matthew 2:16. Who else but Christ could cause all of the children under 2 years old to be killed, all capitals, simply by being born? Christ is king. That's just something exactly that really hit home to me when I was reading. I believe that night I read 4 chapters of Matthew, and that's all you need to do. You got to read a couple chapters. If you can stay consistent, that's key. But when I was reading, I really felt, and I was like, wow, the king of this nation killed all of the babies under 2 years old, all of them, because he heard about Jesus being born. And now, I don't know any other stories that are that potent. It's like, we're going to kill every single baby under 2 years old because this kid was born. The king of the Jews, they said. That's powerful in its own right. So I think a great book that you could read would be the Holy Bible. Obviously, my denomination, well, it's not a denomination. I'm a Catholic. There's obviously denominations of Protestant and Eastern Orthodox, etc., stuff like that. But the one true church, the church that Jesus handed to Peter, the Catholic Church. So yeah, I think the Bible's a great book. If I was a new reader, what I would read would be Matthew, but then Mark, Luke, and John are great books. I find in my personal life Revelations to be a great book because obviously, as you see on the bottom, on his robe and on his thigh, he has a name written, King of Kings, Lord of Lords. That's Revelations 19:16. Obviously, we read Revelations 2:9 with the prophecy and stuff that they have. There's 7 different things in the Revelations. I think Genesis was a good book. I read through almost all of Genesis, and that's just the creation of the world. So I think that's really powerful in its own right. I think, obviously the Old Testament was a fallen world. The Old Testament was the world getting shaped and getting ready for Jesus. Obviously, that's what the at least my interpretation. But then the New Testament is so powerful because when you see stuff and you see them talking and it's Jesus talking, that's his teachings. That they're writing it down. The Gospel according to Luke is a great book. I think you guys should all read Luke, Matthew. Those are some of my favorites. But yeah, I think the Holy Bible is a great book to read. And that just recently, this past weekend, I've been really, really connected spiritually. I got to continue. Obviously, it's an ever going thing. You can never be too Christian. You can never be too godly because we all sin. Unless you're Jesus or obviously Catholic belief is the Mother Mary too. Everyone sins, so you can never be too perfect. But I think that if you're trying to live the right way and you follow Jesus' teachings, you're on the right path. So Christ is King, and usually we do this at the end of the show. But I thought it was really important that we get the word out early on in the show before people click off. Because it's one of the biggest things, especially in times like this. Iran, you see Iran, Israel. Obviously, the U.S. is involved. Russia, Ukraine. That's a constant, ongoing war. What's happening with the Uyghurs in Tibet? In China, that's a huge problem. Almost no one talks about that either. That's a big problem, dude.
Yep. It's definitely a big deal. And I think that it's interesting that you brought up what you brought up about the king killing everyone under 2 years old. I think that was Moses.
Let me see. I could pull it up right now. It's Matthew 2:16. I'll pull it up.
Yeah, Moses. The same thing happened with Moses. But it's interesting because, like Richard said, the Bible was tribal. In the Old Testament, the tribe of Israel had to fend off itself against barbarians outside of their culture. And, there was a strict instructions laid for the Israelites to build and reveal what God had planned. And then through those revelations, you had the law, the revelation of the law, the revelation of the prophets, and then the revelation of Jesus Christ, which led us into the age of grace. We're not tribal like that anymore, but I think it's interesting because our next topic is Jeffrey Epstein. That everyone under 2 was killed. But go ahead. What was the verse?
Yeah, so right here, Matthew 2:16. Obviously, I'm gonna probably butcher the name. It's Herod, I believe.
Herod,
It's
yeah.
hard to say, but then Herod, when he saw that he was mocked of the wise men, was exceeding worth, and sent forth, and slew all the children that were in Bethlehem. So in Bethlehem, all the children under 2 years old, it says, and in all of the in all of the coast thereof, from 2 years old and under, according to the time which he had diligently inquired of the wise men. So right there, what it says is the guy's name is Herod. Obviously, or Herod. I don't know what it is, the exact pronunciation. I listen. I read. I listen on the Bible app because it's I just feel like it's more connecting. But he basically, and it says it right here, killed every single kid under 2 years old, 2 years old or under, in Bethlehem, just because he knows that Jesus was born. I think that's a very powerful part of the scripture. It spoke out to me because when I was reading, that's the one thing that I did write down was that, and I was obviously you heard what I said. I said, who else but Christ would cause such an uproar just from being born? It's a baby. The baby can't do anything. But since he's, everyone knew the prophecy, but the king of the Jews.
Yeah, so Moses was kind of a similar thing, but it wasn't because he was born. It was just what Egypt was doing at the time. I wanted to pull this article in. This was kind of unplanned when we made the show, but the Finders were an international community and new religious movement founded in Washington, D.C. and Virginia in the late 1960s by former United States Air Force Master Sergeant Marion Petty. They believed in New Age and Eastern religious ideas, particularly Taoism. The Finders came to wider public attention in 1987 with the arrest of 2 members for misdemeanor child abuse, leading to accusations that the group was a satanic cult and an international pedophile ring and a kidnapping ring run by the CIA.
Definitely possible when you see that even Jeffrey Epstein has CIA connections. So it's going into our next topic. I mean, that's some scary crap, dude. It's very weird. I also think that it's very important to remember what you said about, if you're going to hurt one of these little ones, Jesus would rather you tie a millstone around your neck and jump into the sea, basically implying death to you before you kill, I would say kill or hurt one of the little ones. So I think it's very important that these people that are hurting these children and eating them and in quote unquote jerky, as we will get into it today, within the next 30 minutes of the show, I think it's very important that these people serve a public trial. And, in my personal belief, even if it's not public, these people should have death coming to them if they did hurt anyone who did hurt a child. Hurting an innocent child, that is disgusting, and just that as a crime is, if you number one killed or ate a child, that should be Hammurabi's code, death. That's disgusting. Eating a child is the worst possible thing I've ever heard in my entire life. Like that's got to be one of the worst crimes ever. And then along with that, and even hurting a child with SA, that's disgusting in its own right. Obviously, there's levels to it, but it's still like horrific. It's terrible.
Yeah, and it's particularly disgusting. It's such a heinous crime that somebody needs to be made an example of. To think that you're going to want to go ahead and do something like that, and then to have the memory in the back of your head of somebody's eyeballs popping out of their head and their legs kicking around might give you a second thought about that and make you not want to do that again. So That's the level of disgusting that we're at. And, you know, advocating for the death penalty for certain things is controversial. Not for this. Not to me.
Mm-hmm. No, I agree. I think, and I've had conversations with people that are very wise, you know, political people, and they always say, they say that they don't believe that. Obviously, their gut reaction is, I think that these people need to be publicly executed. But logically, they say, I don't think the government should be able to kill its citizens. Well, for this specific thing, and obviously, if you want to throw in theology, Jesus would not allow this. Jesus flipped tables because they were gambling in his father's house. How do you think he would react about children being I won't say ate alive, but they were being eaten and they were being essayed and they were being, you know, harassed and literally killed. And it's disgusting. This stuff is demonic. They worship Baal, which is what we mentioned earlier in the show, and it's not okay. And I say this with my Bible next to me, holding a cross. I don't support it, and I think Jesus, and I'm not going to speak for him because who can? But I think Jesus would support execution as well. I don't want to play God, but this is something that is not okay. This is disgusting, and if it comes out to be true, and these people did eat children, I would do it myself. Like if I was the government, I would not have a problem with it. It's disgusting. It's terrible. It's literally inhumane. Like, our bodies are not supposed to number one, eat humans, let alone babies. And then you get into the cream cheese, like they're talking about, and
the grape soda.
And then you want to talk about pizza hot dogs, talking about little boys, little girls. That's not even bad when you compare what they're talking about, jerky and cream soda and the cream cheese. I mean, it comes out, and it's crazy that there's so many different levels to this, that being this radicalized and being this radical with how I'm talking is not even that crazy to say. It's not crazy in my opinion at all. And I'm limiting myself because I'm trying to be very civil, because it's obviously this could be some of the stuff could not be true, but I'm trying to be civil when saying it. But if this comes out that anyone hurt children and ate children, I don't think that they should just have the luxury of sitting in prison for the rest of their life.
Yeah. So if anyone's seen the movie Eyes Wide Shut, the character, he gets twisted in the head. Him and his wife are having problems. He, wanders off, and he's thinking about, because his wife just said that she was thinking about other guys. So he walks out and he's thinking man, thinking about his wife being with someone else. So his mind's all twisted. Then he comes into a situation where he could cheat on his wife, and he doesn't do it. But then he walks out of there and he's like, I should have did that. And he goes down this whole rabbit hole of trying to, get into this pedophile or this sex cult orgy type of thing. It's a really messed up movie, but there are some things in there. Stanley Kubrick was a great director and a great movie writer, producer, whatever, there are some things in there. So in the restaurant, he's reading the New York Post when he there's a supermodel that ends up dying. And he reads the New York Post, and the New York Post says that she was a supermodel that overdosed on drugs. But he knows the real story. She was a supermodel during the daytime, and then at night she was in a sex cult. So the movie shows how the media would spin it, the realities of the situation, and I believe by the end of the movie he ends up giving away his own daughter to try and join this cult. And it's pretty disgusting movie. Now that movie, while we're on the topic, that movie was actually filmed in the Rothschild's mansion. I know this sounds crazy.
So I don't know what just happened to Will. Good thing I came back. I had a bathroom break. But I will continue the show. So he was basically saying the Rothschilds filmed that movie. It was filmed in their house. I don't know anything about this movie, so I can't speak on it. But yeah, that's terrible. That's not, oh, he's back.
Sorry, guys. I gotta reconnect here. I just dropped out for no reason. But that movie was disgusting. And I'm trying to pull it up here. The movie itself was actually filmed in the Rothschilds' mansion. We know that the Rothschilds were, connected to Jeffrey Epstein. Pretty big deal. And I want to show you guys this. So this is a website that shows all where the scenes took place. So the movie where the sex cult meets up was Somerton. It was at the Mentor Towers, Buckinghamshire, UK. Look at that mansion. That's a pretty nice place, right?
Mm-hmm.
I got two things here, and this was also something that we didn't plan to talk about, but it's pretty interesting. Here's the next thing I wanted to show you. So that, see, Mentor Tower or whatever. Now, who owns, I Googled, who owns Mentmore Tower? And this popped up. Share screen. Here we go. Search for who owns Mentmore Tower. The Earls of Rosebery. The Earls of Rosebery own it now, but it was at the time when the movie was filmed. The estate has historic ties to the Rothschild banking dynasty, but its current possession is of the Earls of Rosebery. Huge mansion, super huge mansion. Why they would offer it up to be used as the set for a giant satanic sex cult is beyond me, but I can only make an assumption that, they wanted to tell us what they were doing, just like any psychopath out there. A serial killer leaves little notes behind because they want to brag about what they're doing and they want to tell you what they're doing. And it's kind of a psychological thing that they, do stuff like this. So let's go back. Let's get into the Epstein.
Yeah, we're gonna have a little 20-minute segment on Epstein. This stuff is crucial for you guys to watch. If you're still watching, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe because we are constantly giving you guys new information. This stuff is disgusting. So, Will, what do we have right here?
All right, so I just went on the DOJ website in the Epstein library, and on their search bar, I typed in jerky. It's showing 12 results. Let's look up beef jerky, actually.
And there's more than 12 results. I don't know why it just pops up with 12.
Yeah, it's pretty weird. Here's one. We'll just go through them a little bit. So, hey Leslie, anyway we can we can meet Jeffrey on the second floor of Core, back of the restaurant for some coffee, tea, or beef jerky. Smiley face. Will be totally private. Or meet Jeffrey at our apartment if he doesn't want to be at Core. Would love to see Jeffrey and catch up. Unfortunately, we can't do skin treatment today, but definitely we'll do skin the next time he's in town, okay? Kind of a weird little article, or a weird little email to send someone, but you know what? I don't see the other article here, or the other email, but I did download it, And that's going to be the problem that the government's going to face, is that people downloaded all this stuff already. So I don't know where this went, but it's not on the internet.
It's weird. Like, they're taking stuff off the DOJ website, which I don't think they should be allowed to do. It's a court order. They have to release all of the files. We still don't have 2.5 million. And then out of the 3.5 million that they released, a lot of it has been taken out. Like the stuff about Trump, a lot of stuff about Trump has been taken out. And it's stuff that we shouldn't have taken out.
Yeah. This here was the email I was looking for. Francis has time to come tomorrow to show me how to make it. The jerky class, anyone? He will also bring you a taste of his new jerky recipe from the restaurant and sends a warm hello. He is working at a restaurant called Cannibal and Cooks. Wait for it, ... beef jerky and steak. He has time at 3 p.m. tomorrow if this is okay with you. Cannibal and Cooks. Would anyone eat at that restaurant? But what are they really talking about? What are they talking about here? Cannibal and Cooks, beef jerky. There's other ones that, and I'm trying to put the website back up here. There's other ones that show beef jerky. They're saying, to keep it refrigerated or keep it on ice. Last time I checked, beef jerky was invented to literally be preserved meat. So because they didn't have refrigeration at the time.
Yeah, no, I think it is a code word. I think this is something talking about children and beef jerky as in like edible. I don't know how they make it edible because it's not, but edible like food of, remains, which is terrible. It's disgusting.
Here we go. Come to Leon's building, send jerky with her, or have JoJo bring. Got it. And then it's also funny. The information contained in this communication is confidential, maybe attorney-client privilege, may constitute inside information intended for use of the addressee, is property of Jeffrey Epstein. Unauthorized use, disclosure, copying of this communication, blah, blah. The best part is destroy this communication and all copies thereof, including all attachments. Copyright, all rights reserved. Why? Do you ever, would you contact your lawyer and say, hey, I'm about to send this guy some beef jerky. Can you write me a little proviso on the bottom that says, hey, if you tell anyone that I gave you beef jerky, I could sue you in court. Destroy this email after you read it. It's only for your eyes. I have a trademark copyright that I own this email, and if it ever comes out, like, what the hell? Why include that?
Yeah, and also, what is Jeffrey Epstein like getting into? So, and one thing for me, what does Jeffrey Epstein have like a secret hobby of making this beef jerky? Is he like a secret beef jerky lover fanatic? Like what is all of this stuff talking about beef jerky? Why does different people, by the way, why does everyone want this beef jerky so bad? And also, why is the files and the people that are asking for this beef jerky redacted? Why are people's names being redacted? I don't get it. Who are we protecting? That's my question. Who are we protecting? That I want to know who wants to get this skincare treatment, and I want to know who is trying to eat this beef jerky on ice. That's who I want to know. I mean, it's ridiculous, dude.
How about this one? It says, hold on. It says, holy shit, Chunky, I forgot about that. What time do you want to get pizza and grape soda tomorrow? ? I just typed in grape soda. How about this? This is better than a Chinese cookie. Let's go for pizza and grape soda again. No one else can understand. Go no. From who? What is grape soda?
And why is the name redacted? I don't get that.
Yeah, if they're just talking about grape soda, what the hell? Here, what about this one?
We know pizza means little girls. We've already discussed this in previous shows. Pizza code word is little girls.
I'll call you. I'm back. Can you call in Sendra 100 at Zitmer? How many? 10. They didn't have your call yet. You have refills available? Call them back. Thanks. They want to call you to call. I just did. Can you pick them up now? After you use them, wash your hands and let's go get pizza and grape soda. Call me. Just watched the Zen Diaries HBO documentary. I mean, I don't know. The rest of this is probably just random stuff, but pizza and grape soda again referenced in the Epstein files.
I wonder what grape soda means.
Yeah. People are saying that they think that means blood or endorphins of human blood. Dinner tonight, Thursday with Woody. I'm in. What time? 7. Should I bring Kasha from 2nd Ave Deli? Yes. Pastrami also had for breakfast. They do mention pizza and grape soda in here.
So they just love pizza, don't they? They're real Italians.
Oh yeah. What the hell? I don't know what we're about to see on this. I'm actually just randomly scrolling through the Epstein files. So sorry guys. At some point in here, okay. At some point in here, they say you can pick them up now. After you use them, wash your hands and let's go get pizza and grape soda. Oh, Harry Fish.
That's a clip.
Harry Fish, pizza and grape soda. What? Sorry, I'm randomly scrolling through that.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, I don't know what we're about to see. All I seen was like a toilet start coming up, and I was like, whoa. Pizza and grape soda tomorrow for lunch? Soda tomorrow for lunch? Question mark. I don't know.
Like why are they like why say grape soda? Like why are you specifically saying grape soda? Why don't you just say pop or soda?
Hey, what are we doing? Going out for pizza tomorrow? Yeah, that's cool. All right, dude. Talk to you tomorrow. Or, I mean, I don't know. It's just weird how many times they reference it. People are noticing patterns like this. Pizza, hot dogs, grape soda, beef jerky. People are noticing patterns that they continue to use the same words over and over again. They don't. It doesn't even sound. It'd be like if I wanted to go buy like beer. I'm underage and I want to buy beer. I'm talking to my buddy. You know, you'd be like, hey, dude, you want to have a couple pops later? And you know, I mean, then technically you're not talking about beer, so it could be the benefit of the doubt. You could say, I said, want to have a couple pops later. What do you mean? You know, I mean, you could play it off, but if I was like, hey, dude, want to get drunk off some pop later? You know what I mean? Like, what they just say it super weird. They talk about it like literally like saying what they're doing, but then like using a code word with all the context of the sentence leading up to, you know, what we're talking about potentially. You know, I mean, we're assuming, but all the context would have you think one whole different thought, and then they randomly just use the word grape soda at the end. It's like if you did a parody of the Smurfs, and you're like, oh, you see Smurfette earlier? I wanted to Smurf her super bad. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. You use the word Smurf, but
Yeah, exactly. But that's not what it means.
That's not what you're saying.
And people want to say pattern recognition is racist and stuff like that. No, pattern recognition is something that the younger generations, and I find it to even be up to Generation X, have pattern recognition. Something involving like the country Israel has pattern recognition. People notice patterns. People notice that every time they come to the White House, they either leave with billions of dollars or they leave with our troops going and bombing a country. So they notice stuff. It's pattern recognition. So the fact, God forbid us use our critical thinking skills and notice a pattern in the files involving pizza, hot dogs, grape soda, or jerky, and thinking that it doesn't mean that.
And then sometimes, like, they'll be talking all this coded language. Sometimes they just come right out and say the craziest stuff. Look at this email to Ghislaine Maxwell. And I can't even read it. I gotta make it bigger on my screen. Hold on.
To Ghislaine Maxwell.
It says, any interest in being on the Shadow Commission for 9/11? The membership list is secret. No reason that this should be redacted. Neither one of these people are victims. And then Ghislaine answers, thanks for the invite. Unfortunately, I cannot be on the Shadow Commission.
Shadow Commission of what? Are we saying, in that email, are we saying that Israel officially, are we able to claim that they officially did 9/11 and the story was made up? That are we officially going to say that the dancing Israelis theory is true off of
that
this?
That was in 2003. So at the same time, there was a real 9/11 commission in front of our eyes on TV that everyone knew they were lying. Okay, I'm just going to come out and say it. Everyone knew they were lying about Building 7 being not connected to the World Trade Center fires. And then the thing collapses right onto its own footprint, just like every other demolition. But then the scientist comes out and he's like, well, today we officially proved for the first time that an office fire can cause a building collapse. And you're like, okay, so every other office fire never collapsed a building, but Building 7 fell on its own imprint, and people said that they literally heard bombs going off, and we're just supposed to believe that now all of a sudden there's this new scientific anomaly that, the buildings can just fall, even though every other time, way worse office fires. I've seen office fires, where there's fire shooting out of the windows, and then by the end of it, all that you have left is cinder block and steel, but it doesn't fall down. And it never did before, and it hasn't since. That's the one time that a building ever fell because of an office fire, and you couldn't even see the fire. All you see is a standing building, then it goes bloop, and just falls. And Larry Silverstein literally did an interview that morning and said that he told the fire department to pull it, and they watched it fall. That's what he said. Like, literally, he told them to pull it, but then they told us that it just fell because of an office fire. They also said that they found the hijacker's passport 2 blocks away from the World Trade Centers, and that's how they identified who carried out the attack.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then also you look at the whole 9/11 situation was super sketchy the way that they did it. George W. Bush, obviously Jr., was in a school in Texas. He just randomly happened to be in a school in Texas, and then you see the video, and the guy comes over and he's like, they say that's how you handle situations. No, that's not how you handle situations. If I'm the president and someone tells me that the World Trade Centers fell, and not to mention Netanyahu predicted it in 1995, I'm going, and then I step out of the room instantly. I'm not going to finish with the kindergartners. I mean, people like that whole situation made no sense. It was planned for sure. And now that's my own personal belief, but I don't understand how someone can just automatically claim, oh yeah, well, the government does all this shady crap, and I don't believe in this, and this. But the 9/11 story, I believe in that. Or the same with the Charlie Kirk assassination. Oh yeah, well, I believe in the official story. Or the Trump shooter, the first one that actually nicked him in the ear. Yeah, I believe the official story. I think it's coming out that if the government told us there is no Epstein files and there's 6 million pages, clearly they like to lie to us, and clearly it's a stage. This is all a stage for the non-informed voter. And I think that people are over it. I think people are sick of it. And as we hit this hour mark, I think this is a perfect time. Once again, that no matter what happens in the government and with involving politics, if you live with Jesus Christ, this short life on earth will be everlasting in heaven. So it's the time right now to give your life to Jesus.
Yep. Rich, if you got to go, I got 2 more articles I want to hit. So
okay, yeah. I'll just sign off, because obviously, and it's tough because we quick before I go, we've been off for I think 4 days, but there's been stuff going on. We've been busy. We're gonna try to really hammer in these episodes. We want to give you guys a lot of episodes in this upcoming week from now until when Will has to leave. Then we're going to be doing a ton of shows. I'm going to be doing a ton of solos. Then we're going to have a couple days and we're going to do like 2 or 3 episodes. And then I'm leaving. So we're going to have a ton of content for you guys. But like, comment, and subscribe. Give your life to Jesus Christ. And Will, good luck on the rest of the show, brother.
Thank you.
Yep.
See you, buddy.
Goodbye.
Okay. So Richard is heading out, and I'm going to take over. For the rest of the show, I'm going to talk about Epstein. The first thing I want to talk about, so we covered the jerky thing, the grape soda, all that stuff, and all that is pretty disgusting stuff. I do have something that's even more, I think you'll find even more disgusting. If I can pull it up here. Okay. Yep. There we go. So, I don't know what pedo acids means, but Epstein bought 330 gallons of sulfuric acid the day I opened a rape probe as conspiracy theorist files. And they got this picture in here just to, look at the headline first off. As conspiracy theorists leap on shock receipt. Well, when the FBI opens, you're hanging out with underage girls. As far as I know, these would be 2 victims here because their faces are blacked out. So as far as I know, here's him with 2 of his victims. And the day the FBI opens an investigation into Jeffrey Epstein for sex trafficking, not what they said. They said for a rape probe. No, they opened an investigation into him for sex trafficking, and he wire transferred $4,375 to buy 6.5 to buy a bunch of 55-gallon drums of sulfuric acid to be delivered to his island so that he could, in my opinion, so that he could destroy the evidence. Oh, it wasn't even on the screen. I do apologize. I'm working alone. But okay, there we go. Okay. Here's the article. And I already explained it to you guys, but just so you could see, there's Epstein with the victims. There is the receipt for the wire transfer for him buying this sulfuric acid. Jeffrey Epstein bought hundreds of gallons of sulfuric acid for his island on the same day the FBI opened its probe into him, new docs show. So he literally bought acid. The conclusion that I am left to draw from this is that he bought acid to destroy the bodies of his victims and to, get rid of the evidence. And that's the only thing that I can decide to take away from that, because nothing else makes sense. Ghislaine Maxwell is literally in jail right now for sex trafficking. I don't know. Do you sex traffic to yourself? If there's no clients, then who are you trafficking to? You have to sell. You can manufacture drugs and alcohol and firearms and have a separate charge, but when you actually sell it to someone is when you get a trafficking charge. So who is she trafficking to if there's no clients? That's my question for the Trump administration and for Todd Blanche. Todd Blanche came out and had all this stuff to say about how you don't think that if we had evidence of somebody hurting young women, that we wouldn't be prosecuting them. So in response to that, now it could be that it would be a defamation case if you went after a victim. If a victim said, "Oh, so and so abused me," and you didn't have the documents or the proof, it could be a civil lawsuit of defamation against you for saying that you were harmed. So in response to that, Elon Musk said, "I will pay for the defense of anyone who speaks the truth about this and is sued for doing so." So Elon Musk, good on you. You've been a huge advocate of releasing the Epstein files, and now to offer up to pay for their defense is awesome. That's just a huge thing that I think Elon is doing, and I give him a lot of props for that. He's faced a lot of scrutiny because he was in the Epstein files for certain things, certain emails and whatever. And what's really valid about it, I'm not too sure. So pretty interesting though. And I'm going to pull up a clip about Howard Lutnick now, or no, Wes Lexner. I'm going to pull up a clip about Wes Lexner because Wes Lexner is being accused of being on the Epstein Island multiple times. And, it was a claim that he originally denied, and he denied it, and said that he literally gave this whole story. My wife and me went over there, and he invited us over for tea. I went over there one time, and, he had a massage table in the middle of his kitchen. And I told my wife before we made it the 6 steps from his front door to ours, because they were neighbors, that I told my wife that we would never go back there. Then they're in business together, investing in the same startup company and all this stuff. So Wes Lexner is under massive scrutiny, and he is part of President Trump's cabinet right now. And as I try and get this pulled up here, it's causing quite the uproar. I think that the whole European government is in shambles over this Epstein documents. We've seen movements with people in Norway who are trying to avoid, or who are being held accountable for what their involvement with the Epstein situation is. And we haven't seen much out of the US as far as accountability. But I thought that this little thread here was interesting. So this is Todd Blanche. He says, okay, so let's start with Thomas Massey. "This is well-known retired CEO. DOJ should unredact this." Why did they redact it? EpsteinJustice.gov. So here it says co-conspirator, and the name is blocked off, but it does say less, which is weird that they redacted his name but left it less. That's a little breadcrumb Les, former girlfriend. So Les Wexner turned out to be in this case, in this document, it turned out to be him. So then Todd Blanche responds, the document you cite has numerous victim names. We have just unredacted Les Wexner's name from this document, but his name already appears in the files thousands of times. DOJ is hiding nothing. There's a lot to unpack with just what he said. There's no victim names on here. The only thing blocked off is Wexner's name. And even if his name is in the files thousands of times, the fact that they covered it up this one time, this is the one time they should have showed it, showing that he's a co-conspirator with Jeffrey Epstein. It was literally an FBI document saying that he's a co-conspirator with Jeffrey Epstein. So if anything, that would be the one time you would show him on there. And then it says the cited document is an FBI thread. This is community notes that they had to add to Todd Blanche's post because he was lying. It says the cited document is an FBI email thread from 2019 discussing 10 potential co-conspirators in the Epstein case and contains no victims. So Todd Blanche is just outright lying about this, and I think that's pretty despicable for, Todd Blanche in general, but the whole Trump administration doesn't look very good on them. And, it's important to have accuracy. And now I'm getting asked about how Outlook email is doing. I don't care. I think we had fun on the show today. And, these are pretty important topics. Me and Richard try and keep it light a little bit, but like I said the other day, the first Epstein episode that I did by myself was our second Epstein coverage, and I was by myself, and I had this whole I wrote this whole thing up for today's show. I had this whole thing written up about the Epstein files. And the whole time I had this weight hanging on me, like, this isn't good enough. You're not doing this any justice. There's 3 million files. Well, if I wanted to talk about that, every single file, I'd be on here till next year. So pretty, heavy lift. It's a heavy lift to talk about this and try and do it any justice. So I'm trying to do it justice, but this is it. Incrementally trying to do it justice, but you'd have to watch all of our coverage because we did cover a lot and there's a lot to talk about with this. So, I think I'm doing a little better today. I understand that I can't tell everybody I can't tell you how it feels in my heart when I read this, because I'm disgusted when I read these emails. I'm disgusted that our government is covering it up. I'm disgusted that, it just takes a notch out of me. It's like, in the Hobbit movie when Galadriel comes out and she sends Sauron back. He comes and he's like a fiery entity, and she sends him back temporarily. She gets rid of him and sends him back where he came, and he just went and consolidated more power and whatever. But she got rid of the threat, and when she sends him away, she uses all this power. She is glowing. She's floating. She's using all this power to get rid of Sauron. And then she falls on the ground afterwards and needs to be literally carried out of there. That's how I feel when I'm done with this. I mean, I'm not like magical or anything, but it's such a heavy lift trying to cover this stuff and such a weight on me. And then I have to explain it to you. And I'm disgusted with the fact that my mouth is saying the things that I'm thinking, but then there's another countering force that comes into play. And I have to say what I'm thinking because I can't know what I know and not warn people and tell people and try and help people to see the truth. So there's that factor coming in, and it's just a lot to come out here and try and present this in any way. All right, so that's my little rant about how I feel about this whole thing. But Caitlin Collins, I don't normally agree with her, and in fact, I don't like her at all. But this was something good that she interviewed Thomas Massey, and I don't like the fact that this interview was done on CNN because I don't like them either. They're fake news. But this interview itself was a great thing because Thomas Massey's talking about Les Wexner being on there. She has done somebody on her team has done the investigative research, found out the name from a different source, and then makes Thomas Massey admit it right here on live TV. So thought I'd play this for you guys.
An example of something, maybe it wasn't intentional on their part. I'd like to hear his take on the redaction of the CEO, who's listed as a co-conspirator in the 2019 child sex trafficking case.
So can I ask you, because, and I want to ask if this is the same person, Todd Blanche also said about that tonight that the document you're citing there has victim names in it.
Correct.
Seeming to say that's why there are redactions. He said, we have just unredacted Les Wexner's name from this document, but his name already appears in the file thousands of other times. And he says the Justice Department is hiding nothing. Is that the retired CEO that you're referencing?
It is. He unredacted it after I found it. That's a problem. I'm glad they've admitted they made a mistake by redacting that.
So you're saying it was redacted when you went in there today, and after you tweeted that, they unredacted it?
Correct. Now he's got 4 other names he needs to unredact. Did he respond to that? There's a list of 20 people. And there's 4 men in there that need to be unredacted. Here's another troubling thing that I found.
Can you say who those 4 men are tonight?
I don't think they're well known. And so if I did, it wouldn't matter, but I could probably say them on the floor of the House. But I'll give the DOJ a chance to do what they did in these 2 examples, where I've discovered something and now they've responded.
So Thomas Massey, he wants to save it to say it on the floor of the House because he has immunity on the floor of the House. And it's also good practice to make the DOJ admit that what they're doing is wrong. And that what they've done with the cover-up of Les Wexner's name as a co-conspirator is against the law. It's actually against the law for them to hide that from us. And I think that's a really big deal. And the whole Epstein thing, like I said, it's disgusting. We should know who these people are. We should have access to all of the clients. That should have been the thing that they specifically highlighted. The Epstein Transparency Act, or whatever the name of the law that they passed. It should have literally been a 1-sentence document. Please give us all evidence of co-conspirators and what their crimes were. And that should have literally been made law, that you should disclose all the criminal activity that has been going on with Epstein. That should have been the focus of that. I'm going to share my screen here and show you guys my other YouTube channel that I haven't been on in quite a while. It's something that I tried, and it didn't really kick off. I had like 60 something viewers on there, but I'm back at it. I regrouped. I got with Richard. He's a very, very good co-host, and he's into the same things. We have similar beliefs, kind of opposing on certain things, but we, I think we have good discussions about things, and he's just a common sense kind of guy. The Citizens Report, but you can go there and you can find my old coverage from years ago. This was 1 year ago, I think, all the way up to 2 years ago. History of the bird flu. And you can see, if you really like, if you think a certain way about the way I talk, or that I'm, just spewing stuff. I'm new to the internet, and or I'm new to podcasting, and where was I, during COVID and all that. During COVID, I was protesting. I was very active. I started this YouTube channel when things died down. I have tons of coverage. I have episodes on episodes right here that I'm showing you. And if you want to hear my beliefs, I encourage everyone to go back and look at this, because I was saying the same thing back then that I'm saying now, but now the things I was saying back then are more true than they were when I was saying them. So it's a pretty big deal.
Hey, Greenblatt, I guess you're up next. Not here to cash any checks. I do the
pretty big deal that I had this coverage back then. In my opinion, in my world, it was a big deal, and I hope that everyone goes and looks at that. So to close the show, I'm gonna play this clip and or this video. This was a song I wrote called "Hey Greenblatt," and it's a great song. It's about Jonathan Greenblatt, and the ADL and his role in the ADL, and a lot of what I don't necessarily agree with Jonathan Greenblatt. So I'm going to close out the show and play you this song, and I hope everyone enjoyed. Remember, Christ is King. God bless America. God bless freedom. God bless liberty. God bless you, and God bless the United States. And thank you for watching Tomorrow's America.
It's just to politically snap some Lex. Hey, Greenblatt, this is my opinion, so try not to get offended. In fact, nobody listened. Now I'm not protected. It's crazy how long everyone pretended that I can't say what I want so that you don't get rejected. Nobody controls what I say, even if they're elected. Free speech in America, people die to protect it. There you go, now the reason for your job has been upended. I think tax payments to your organization should be suspended. If you don't like what I say, have the Constitution amended. To me, you're the combination of the church and the state. It's my tax money that puts food on your plate. If you don't like what I say, cover your ears like a kid and get out of my face. No matter what you say, it ain't illegal to hate. Hey, Greenblatt, you're such a disgrace. You look like the dude from the Boondock Saints, the one John Nelson slapped in the face, broke his jaw with a salami stick to show him his place. You'll probably cry that the song is anti-Semitic. I got a new word for you, it's very phonetic. Anti-Semitic supremacist. To me, you're the combination of the church and the state. It's my tax money that puts food on your plate. If you don't like what I say, cover your ears like a kid and get out of my face. No matter what you say, it ain't illegal to hate. What's the difference between Greenblatt and a vacuum? A vacuum don't suck as hard on the floor of a bathroom. It's just a metaphor, it ain't defamation. This is America. I'm allowed to make an opinionated statement. I don't care what loyalty you have to other nations. See, you get all caught up in conflations. The free exchange of ideas will stop all the frustration. I think you're the one who does all of the hate. Don't cry about it on every TV station. To me, you're the combination of the church and the state. It's my tax money that puts food on your plate. If you don't like what I say, cover your ears like a kid and get out of my face. No matter what you say, it ain't illegal to hate. Greenblatt, how'd you end up such a bitch? If Soros stopped by, it would be so fire. You probably stop, drop, and roll and start sucking his. You speak and no one listens cause your bullshit is thick.
I'm talking to you, Greenblatt. You can't fall into the shadows of some bigger group. I'm talking about you and you alone.